Hey guys, so I'm back with another video, and I wanted to talk to you guys about something that's been kind of my heart to share. Um, and I'm gonna connect it back to some other things, but I wanted to talk about my first job and how God showed up for me in my first job, and how He facilitated that whole thing for me. Um, so I'm just gonna start off with how it started. So basically, let's see, I moved to San Diego, it's California. And I just got my bachelor's, and so I was like really excited. I thought, I was gonna be, ready to work as soon as I got there, and it didn't turn out that way at all. Um, and I was looking for jobs, and there wasn't a whole lot of stuff out there at the time for people with bachelor's degrees, and I had absolutely no work experience. I had none. So I was like, okay, and I wasn't getting anything. Like I would apply, and I would kept applying for like a year, and nothing. So like I applied and for many jobs, and I got many rejections. Um, Even for like basic stuff like Target. Yeah, I had no experience. I had no experience working in retail. I had no experience doing really anything. So I was just like, okay, you know what, whatever. And I was at the time, I was so young, and I was just like, every rejection, I just took it to heart. Like I think I'd probably cry. I was like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get a job? Like trying to go for my resume. I mean, there wasn't really anything on there. Um, but yeah, I was just like, what is going on? And I really wanted a psych job because that's what I got my degree in. I got my degree in psychology. And with that, you really can't, there's not a whole lot of options unless you get, a master's or a doctorate degree after that. So yeah, it was difficult. It was really, really hard. So maybe a year went by, and, I'm still looking. And sometimes I just take a break from looking because I was just like, whatever. Um, I I came across an opportunity to volunteer. And I volunteered as a dental assistant on one of the bases there. And I did that, and it was supposed to be for like 6 months to get like, you had to get a certain amount of hours, and then you had to go and get like an x-ray certification, and then you could actually go from there and work as a dental assistant. And at the time, I was like, oh, this will be great. The pay is good. And so I was like, this will be really good for me. Um, but right at that time, I had applied for a job, and it was for like a call center kind of a thing. And I went in for an interview, and they were going to give me a job, but they were like, oh, this training won't start for another 2 to 3 weeks. Like, we'll let you know. And I was like, okay. So, I'm waiting and all this stuff, and I'm trying to do these processes together. And when I did go to that interview for that call center job, I didn't get really a good feeling about it. Um, just the environment, I don't know. I just didn't really have the best of feelings, but I was definitely willing to do it because I definitely wanted a job. Um, and I felt like I needed money, so I was like, yeah, I need money, so for myself. Um, but some time went by, and I think literally like ended up hearing about the dental assistant volunteering position, and then I ended up hearing about the job. They called me and was like, hey, we're going to start this training on this day. And also the dental assistant volunteering was also going to start on the same day. And I prayed, I was talking to God about it, and I felt like this feeling of like, do the volunteering instead of going through with the job. And so I was like, okay. And so I did the volunteering. So it was like, I'm not getting paid. And I was there every day from like 7 a.m. to 3. It was like you're working a full-time job, but you weren't getting paid. But I really enjoyed it. It was really cool. I learned so much about teeth, even though it was like completely out of my field. But I definitely felt that unction of wanting to be in my field because I'm like talking to these Marines, and kind of wondering, like what are they dealing with? And some of them would tell me some stories, and I'd be like, wow, and like I want to know about the mental health part of this, and not like hear what's going on in your teeth so much. But it was a really good experience for me. And while I was there for about a couple months, and I had applied for this job, and I was like, we'll see what happens. I was like, I don't know. And it was interesting because the one interview I had went on, which was totally not like a real job, by the way. It was really kind of shady how they did the whole interview process. I did not feel comfortable there, by the way. But there was this interview taking place in this like plaza kind of a thing. And, you know, I'm waiting for my turn, I guess, to be interviewed. There was like a lot of people, a lot of young people interviewing for this job. But anyway, I was there and I was just walking around and I saw there was like a forensic psychologist there. And I just walked in and there was this man and he was a psychologist. And I was like, you know, I just got my bachelor's. I don't know what to do for a job. I've been looking. Is there anything that, you know, maybe you know of or anything you can point me in the right direction here? And he listed out like 3 different places. And later on, I will say how that comes into play. I feel like a lot of my testimonies are like something happens and like this is gonna come into play later. But anyway, I applied for that job while I'm volunteering. I applied for this job and I get an interview. I get a call for an interview, and I was so excited. And it was at a psychiatric hospital, and I was like, wow, great. You know, I didn't expect to get an interview, and I did. And it was one of the places that the psychologist had listed on there for me. It was there. It was one of the places he wrote down for me. And I didn't even put that together when I had applied for it. And I go to the interview, and I felt good about it, but I was kind of nervous too, because I was like, wow. And I'm like, all right, God, you know, this is what you want from me, I'll do it. But, you know, I'm still volunteering, and I still really like this idea of becoming a dental assistant. So a little bit later, they're like, oh, we're going to do a second interview. And then it was supposed to happen, but then something happened. So we ended up doing it over the phone. And it's like, okay, you'll hear back, you know, a little bit later. And maybe about a week or so later, I got a call. And they were like, you got the job? And literally, I just finished working at the dental clinic, and I was in the park. I was in my car getting ready to go home, and that's when I got the call. And when I got the call, and they were like, "Yep, and this is the pay, and this is gonna be your hours, and this is that." And I was like, "Oh my goodness!" And the pay, I mean, it was more than any other job that had rejected me. It was more than anything I had even asked for. It was in my field. It was like my degree could actually be put to use somewhat, and it was an opportunity for me to learn, and it was full time, and I just cried. And I honestly, I cry right now just thinking about it, because I was just so thankful to God, and I was like, wow. And you know what, I really wanted to kind of, and that job set me up for how I even am here doing what I'm doing now. It was there that I met master's level clinicians and doctor level clinicians, people who were getting their masters while working there, and I got to learn so much. And one of my coworkers there that I'm in touch with had wrote a letter of recommendation for me for Northwestern, right? And I got in, and I graduated, and I have my master's now. But just God will line things up for you, just like that. And here's the thing. Here's why. When I tell my story of like it took me about a year and a half to get a job, that job, you kind of have to look at that and be like, okay, I probably could have got there sooner, but my pride was an issue, because I'm just keep it real. I mean, when I graduated with my bachelor's, like I thought, no, I am gonna work a job, and you know, I thought, you know, I was like, no, I'm going to work a job that requires my degree. Like, I was just very like, no, you know, like working at the mall, like, what are you talking about, right? And it was just like, I was not humble, like I wasn't. And I think that set me back. I really do. It was just like, it wasn't until I had to get to a point where I was like, you know what? I'll work for free. I will do something that is completely out of my field. And I'm content. I had to get to a level of contentment of where I was. and a humility before God could open up the door and give me more than what I had expected. Had I been given that from the beginning, I would have been like, yep, this is exactly where I should be. You know what I mean? It wasn't, there would not have been those tears that came, that gratitude when I got that call where I was in the parking lot and I was just like, God, thank you. Thank you. You know, and it was because of that job, you know, we were able to move into like what I had considered one of my dream apartments because it was really nice. And everything, you know, things worked out in that area of my life at the time. And that's the message that I wanted to kind of really spread, is this: pride will set you back. Pride will delay you. Pride will hinder what God has for you. You know, so it's kind of like, no matter what you're doing, no matter what career fields you're in, no matter what projects you're working on or whatever it is, if you do not have a sense of humility about the position you are in or what you are going to, you are going to hinder yourself. You are going to set yourself back in ways that you didn't think was going to happen. Like, I didn't understand that concept at that time. And so when I was asking, why am I getting all these rejection letters? Why is nothing working out for me? You know what I mean? Even when I was applying for like jobs that were completely in left field, and was like, okay, I'll do this retail job, whatever, I just need a job. You know, but I had to ask myself, okay, well, why do I even want this job? Because at the time, you know, I didn't necessarily have to work, because I, you know, was married and everything. But I still really wanted to, and I definitely felt like at the time getting a job was just something to cross off the list of things that people do, you know, and I just want money. I just want to feel like a working individual versus like being intentional about why I wanted to do something and why I felt like I needed to do something. You have to check your intentions. You have to check your ego at the door. And literally all that time that I was getting those rejections and, you know, things were not falling through, that was God stripping my ego off and saying, you know what, if you're going to do something, try this. Do this for free. Do this volunteer work. And I was set. I was going to be a dental assistant. I was ready to be. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll end up going to dental school and being a dental hygienist or something. I was ready. I was like, okay, whatever. When I let all of that go, God said, no, okay, this is what I really want you to do. Y'all have to let God in. And you have to understand that the enemy is working and watching everything too. Right? And this kind of brings me back to this dream that I had recently. I had a dream about this big, like huge lion. Like big lion, and it was like dark at night. And this lion was literally eating people. And I'm moving, I'm like dodging this lion trying to get away. Right? And that's pretty much the dream. But when I woke up, it was reminded me of the scripture. I can't really just pull it up right now, but you know, the one that says your adversary, the devil, roams around like a roaring lion looking for whom he may devour, right? And in my dream, there's this lion was literally devouring people. And you know, when I think about me hiding and dodging and moving, it's like when you listen to what God is telling you to do and how to move, you can avoid the devourer. God is protecting you from the devourer. He will rebuke the devourer for you. Right? And that is in Malachi, I believe. But don't quote me on that. When he will rebuke the devourer. But I believe that's more so about giving offerings. But either way, like, would be obedient in your tithes and offerings. Be obedient in how you move day to day. And set your pride down, because pride is the quickest way for you to get devoured, for your faith to dwindle when things don't complete your ego like you thought they would. So I just wanted to share that with you all, because I feel like it's so important, and you don't want to get hindered in what God's plans are for you. You don't want to get delayed. You know, if God's telling you to wait, but you don't want to be the reason why something is not moving in your life. And you have to get to a place where You're saying, I'm going to wait on God, but I'm also going to humble myself. I'm also going to lay my pride down. I'm also going to cast my cares onto the Lord and say, God, whatever you have for me is for me. Whatever you want me to do. And if that is where you need to humble yourself in a way to say, you know what, I don't really deserve anything. God, you don't owe me anything. He doesn't, right? It's just his grace, his love, his unfailing love is what gets us where we need to be. And so I just wanted to encourage you all in the word, in God today, and to say, go to him with any pride you may have. Go to him, say, God, search my heart, oh God, for anything that is not of you, to take it out of me, right? And so just lay it down. Ask him to strip your ego. That might be painful for some people, right? But our identity is not in our work. It's not in our relationship status. It's not in our accomplishments or our accolades or whatever. It is in God. Our identity is in Christ. We do not have, because these things are fleeting. These things, your relationship status could change tomorrow, right? Your job could change tomorrow. All of these things can be stripped and taken away from you. And when they are, what do you have left? Who are you? That is the real question. And so that you have to ask yourself, so without these things, who am I? Where is my identity at? Is it in Christ? And if it's not, ask him to create that and build that up in you. Right? Our God is a loving God. Okay? So, that is all, you guys, that I had for today. I'm a little tired today, so. But yeah, but that's all I had. That's all I had for today. But I hope you guys have a great, great, blessed day. If you guys need prayer for anything, please feel free to comment or message me. I've had a couple people message me on Instagram. You can message me there too if you want prayer. I'd be happy to pray for you. I'd be happy to hear whatever it is that you've got going on in your life and be an ear for you and give you a word of encouragement. Okay? Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will hopefully be making another one soon. Okay?